So, FA Cup Round 5 has ended. Immediately after the final match took place, the organizers also drew pairs for the quarter-finals. The results show that there are many interesting matches to take place. The most interesting match is definitely the English derby between Man United and Liverpool. Besides, there are also many other exciting matches that we should not miss. The first is the match between Man City and Newcastle. This will be the fourth time the two teams meet this season. 3 times before, Man City won 2 and lost 1 match. Even though they have an advantage, the Citizen cannot underestimate Newcastle when their wins only end with a gap of 1 goal. Even in the third round of the Carabao Cup, it was Newcastle that eliminated Man City from the tournament, turning coach Pep Guardiola's team's dream of winning 4 into smoke. Before entering the quarterfinals, the two teams went through relatively different journeys. If Man City defeated Luton with a score of 1 set of tennis, Newcastle would have had to work very hard to win against first-class team Blackburn Rovers on a lucky penalty shootout. There is no need to say too much that Man City is the team that is more appreciated in this match, when the two monsters Erling Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne are gradually coming into form. The Norwegian striker scored 5 goals against Luton, thereby increasing his scoring record to 27 this season. Meanwhile, De Bruyne is also spreading terror to every opponent this midfielder encounters. After returning from injury, KDB played 10 matches, contributing to 12 goals for Man City, including 10 assists and 2 goals. And certainly, Newcastle fans still cannot forget this name. In the match between Man City and Newcastle on January 14th, it was De Bruyne who came off the bench, scored 1 goal and 1 assist, helping the Citizen come back and leave St. James Park with 3 points. Not Haaland, but De Bruyne is the most dangerous name that Newcastle players need to pay attention to and isolate him from his teammates. If the Belgian midfielder's range can be limited in the upcoming match, Newcastle's odds of winning will increase a bit. But it is quite difficult for this to happen because Man City has begun to show its destruction through matches. The next match is a confrontation between Chelsea and Leicester. The Blues are going through an extremely difficult period when they were defeated by Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final, despite creating more scoring opportunities. Therefore, in the match with Leeds this morning, Chelsea faced many difficulties as the opponent took the lead from the 8th minute. Immediately afterward, Jackson and Mudryk put the home team in the lead with a score of 2-1. But once again, Leeds got a goal and brought the match back to the starting line. It seemed like the two teams would enter extra time when Gallagher scored a valuable goal in the 90th minute, helping Chelsea enter the quarterfinals. Here they will meet Leicester, the Foxes, who just defeated another team in the Premier League, Bournemouth, with a score of 1-0 right at their opponent's home ground, Vitality. Leicester is gradually finding the opportunity to return to the Premier League as they are leading in the English Championship. However, the performance of coach Enzo Maresca's team was not good as they lost 2 matches in a row, including 1 defeat with direct competitor Leeds United. From the gap with the second-ranked team of 12 points, Leeds and Ipswich Town have now shortened the gap to 6 points. The biggest priority of the 2015-2016 EPL champion is the First Division, because if they focus too much on the FA Cup, it could cause them to lose steam in the championship. Playing in the Premier League can help teams that do not have strong financial potential, like Leicester, to shoulder some of the team's operating costs. In addition, Chelsea is very determined for this arena, because they lost the Carabao Cup to Liverpool while in the Premier League. The ability to win a ticket to the European Cup is very difficult because they are only ranked 11th on the rankings. If they win the FA Cup, Chelsea will have a direct entry into the Europa League group stage next season, and of course this cup is also the salvation for another failed season for the home team at Stamford Bridge. The match that receives the least attention is probably between Wolverhampton and Coventry City. The Wolves just had an extremely difficult match against Brighton when the opponent held the ball for most of the time, but luckily they were the team that scored the only goal of the match. The Wolves advanced to the quarterfinals. It can be said that Coach Gary O'Neill's team is the luckiest club when they only have to face Coventry, a not-too-famous team playing in the Championship. For their part, Coventry's journey to the quarterfinals was quite easy when the opponents they faced were all inferior. In the quarterfinals, it will be a real challenge for Coventry when they have to face a team playing in the English Premier League, Wolves. Although the Wolves are rated mid-range in the Premier League, when put on the scale with Coventry, Wolves are still rated higher. Just like Leicester, Coventry should focus more on the championship because they are competing for a playoff spot to be promoted to the Premier League. They are currently ranked ninth, 4 points behind the sixth-ranked team, Hull City. If they put all their effort into the FA Cup, at best, they can only advance to the semi-finals, where the strongest teams in the Premier League are waiting. Meanwhile, Wolves, West Ham, and Newcastle are competing for a spot in the Europa League. If they prefer to play in the Europa League, Wolves can focus on the FA Cup because, after all, they have almost successfully survived relegation in the Premier League. And finally, the match that receives the most attention in this round is none other than the English derby between Man United and Liverpool. The Manchester Red Devils have been criticized a lot recently when Bruno Narcho, Anthony, and Rashford all performed below expectations. Meanwhile, Liverpool is extremely excited after winning the Carabao Cup last Sunday. Although it will be very difficult, it is not an exaggeration to say that the Kop has a dream of winning 4 this season because they are still leading the Premier Liga, advancing to the 1/8 round of the Europa League and the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Even though their personnel is extremely miserable when many key players are injured, for Liverpool right now there is nothing to lose. They are ready to launch young players 19 and 20 years old to play in the recent Carabao Cup final. Although they are still very young and inexperienced, within them is the enthusiasm and desire to fight and devote themselves to the club. Most recently, in the 3-0 win over Southampton, the names who scored for Liverpool were Louis Kumas and Jadon Danns. Do you know who they are? They are just players from the Liverpool youth team to replace injured players. But they can play so well. So let's ask, once Núñez, Salah, or Jota return, how scary will Liverpool be? Liverpool and Man United are similar in that there are a lot of injuries during this period, but the quality of the replacement players is extremely different. No one dares to put their trust in Anthony and Amad Diallo to revive the team. It's clear that Liverpool is outperforming its great rival during this time period from both the performance and spirit of the players. But in a football match, we cannot predict anything. It is impossible to only rely on pre-match advantages to say that Liverpool will definitely win. Remember, in the first leg of the Premier League this season, Liverpool was in high form but was helpless against the Red Devils' solid defense. Furthermore, the derby factor also greatly affects the result of the match. Normally, no matter how bad Man United plays, when entering the match with Liverpool, every player will play with 200% strength because losing to Liverpool means losing the honor and pride of the team, England's greatest. This year's FA Cup quarterfinals bring together many outstanding teams, including 4 teams in the Big Six group. That's why this tournament is predicted to be attractive until the finals, when the strength of the teams is strong. The team is not too different. Will Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, or Wolves be able to show their superiority, or will the weaker teams create a surprise? All will be available at 10 p.m. on March 16th.